All I did was, do you use the word vintage in your titles? I see that a lot. Me, I don't use it. I don't think it needs to be there. People, I haven't been convinced that needs to be there. So welcome back to SMPostcards. This is a great place to be if you've sold postcards all your life, you know a lot about them, you're just starting out, you're looking for something new, something that you can store a lot of items in a small place, something you want, looking for consistent sales, not big dollars all the time, but just something consistently. Postcards have done that for me. When I used to sell toys and action figures and other stuff, I put postcards in there. When toys went down, postcards kind of stayed steady. When postcards went down, the other ones picked up. They're just easy to do, piece of history, and I like them. I really enjoy it. So now I'm 100% basically postcard related items. I do sell some other things. I sell some lunch boxes. I'll pick up stuff at auctions. I just can't pass it up. But this is a great place to learn about postcard online reselling, and that's what I focus on here. So take your time, go through the videos. I put a longer video out on Mondays. It usually has a what's sold, like you see down here, the agenda. A special topic, a certain postcard I'll pick, like today is Carlsbad Caverns. The what's sold part is, I have a larger store. I have 51,000 plus postcards. You get to see a big variety in what they sell. I deal with average postcards, divided back to chrome. I will find real photo postcards, some higher end postcards. I've sold some very expensive postcards. But my niche is basically the average cards, divided back to chrome, is what I look for. And then I throw a poll or some kind of data to talk about, so like that. I put a poll out every Saturday, about 9 or 10 a.m. Central Time. It'll ask a question like today. It says, do you put the word vintage in your titles? A lot of this stuff is pretty passionate, but I usually give my opinion and show you what I do and why I do it. And sometimes people convince me to change, because I'm humble. I'm not set in my ways. If something's going to help me sell something, and it's not a lot of work, I might jump on it and give it a shot. And at the end of every video, I take comments from the viewers, you, that leave comments in eBay, email, YouTube. If they're on YouTube, I consider them public and I'll put the name there, but the other ones, depends. I'll ask if I can use it or whatever. But today we got one. People ask me, when did I start selling more postcards? When did I see consistent daily sales? What number did I have listed? I get that question a lot. I have an answer for that. And some other bigger sellers have said the same thing around that same area. And I think it still holds true. Another one is listing. Out of the polls I've done, a lot of people have talked about listing. Listing takes up most of their time with postcards. I think I know why a lot of it is the rabbit holes they go down, experience, knowledge. But once you get going, you should be able to get through them pretty quick and hold off on the longer, higher priced ones and do them in batches. But I use eBay templates. Some people use 6-bit, some other software. I don't know 6-bit, and I like eBay templates, so I stick there. Use what you like. If you like the 6-bit software, use that. It does back up your stuff and does things. To me, I use eBay templates, and I'll show you how I use those to help with listing, because I said I would try to pick apart pieces of listing. So I did a little clip to show you the different templates. I don't have a lot. They're not hard to do. And then some people ask me, they hear that I had a technical background, what I did in my career. I'm retired. I've been retired about 5 years now. I work for a major company, and they asked me what I did, so I'll discuss a little bit about my background and what I did, just to let people know there's some curiosity out there. I think I've gotten that question a few times. I won't get in great detail, but I'll tell you what I did and why I don't do it anymore. But let's go ahead and get started on the what's sold. Then I'll get into Carlsbad Caverns Postcards, hit the poll. I did find a definition for vintage and a definition for antique. Might go against what some people think, but it is what it is. And then I'll get into viewer comments in that little clip and stuff. So I sold 10 cards. It's been a little roller coaster. It's kind of side trend, a little bit down from last year. This year I want to do 16 cards a day, $80 a day, raise my ASP more, and be very picky about sourcing, buying postcards. I don't want to just go out and buy average cards. I want a little higher, better cards because I have a lot of the average. But if I do see average for a good price, I'll pick it up. But I focus more on that this year. And those are my 4 goals. I don't say I'm going to do all this $100,000 a year and go full time. I'm part-time now. I got rid of all the toys. I got rid of all the stuff I had to pack and ship and source, the constant hamster wheel stuff. I just do postcards. My other income comes in the mailbox. I work for the company long enough. I have investments. I'm debt-free, and I'm fine. So this doesn't. It's a different pressure than someone trying to do it full-time, or they lost their job, and stuff like that. But postcards are a great supplement to bring in some cash flow. But I sold 10 cards. For the year, I'm about 14 cards, so I'm not worried about that. I want to hit 16 by the end of the year, and we're still early in the year. I'm way over $80 a day average sales because I've sold some good cards and stuff like that. My ASP is still creeping up. It's kind of flat, but it's creeping up over last year, which is good. I'll never be in the $8 to $15 or $60 average sale price. Not with the cards I sell. I know I'm going to be, it's going to be $4 to $9, $4 to $8 average sale price. So I'm not shooting way up there on that stuff. And I am being picky. I actually went to an auction last night, and there were some postcards and stuff, but they're just regular things like that, and things were going a little high, so we left. We didn't stick around for him. It was going to take another hour or so for him to get around to those, but kind of passed up. There was another little tray with some in there, but before I would stick around and buy them. I have enough of those. So, but I do got a stack here. We stopped by a antique store, antique mall. They have a bunch of sellers in there and stuff that put stuff in there. And there's a postcard guy in there I always try to support. I picked up a little batch of cards, less than $1 for them, but you always got to pay up at those places. So we'll walk through those 15 cards I bought over there after the poll and stuff. But what's sold? Gettysburg. I sold a Gettysburg card. I did a video about Gettysburg just lately. This is one of those first day issue series type things. Not on a real heavy cardstock. But I got a bunch of these, and I listed a lot of them, and then I put a lot of them in a lot or flea market box, so there are a lot of duplicates. But that sold between $4 and $5. Then I sold the Battleship Passing Under St. John's Bridge, Portland, Oregon. These are a linen card. It's a battleship going under a bridge. They do pretty well. Not as well as some of the other ones, but this was $4 to $5. Sold a historical card. This is the Royal Governor dismisses the Virginia House of Burgess in Williamsburg. Did a video on Williamsburg on there, and this is one of those cards, touristy card. Publisher made them, just a painting or something of people standing around a table. $4 to $5. Sold a print. This is the USS Curious. I think that's how you say it. Older ship. You can see the sailing mask on there. It's on matte front, matte back, light cardstock. PG40 is the number on there, and that sold $4 to $5. Indiana Associated Telephone Company, Elkhart, Indiana. When we get into the viewer comments and people ask what I did, telecommunications was one of my specialties. I was a specialist in that. So this is a telephone corporation, Elkhart, Indiana, when they had all the landlines and stuff. Now they got towers. This sold $4 to $5. Linen card. Sold to NASA. This is a rocket, John F. Kennedy Space Center, Atlas Mercury rocket. Vertical card up and down, chrome, nice, not a lot of scratches. Good card stock these come on, $4 to $5. Sold a motel, the Palm Crest. Where is this located? St. Petersburg Beach, Florida. Posted 1973. Multi-view, different things. It doesn't have the room, but it has a swimming pool. I probably should have bumped that up another $1, because these do sell pretty well on there, but this was a posted card. $4 to $5. A lot of average cards today, a lot of average price. Hello from Pine River, Minnesota. Minnesota Jewel. This is the Minnesota Lake, rippling along its sugar sand beach. View card. There's the lake. $4 to $5. This one actually was a little higher. Sold for $5.55. I must have sent an offer. This is Cramp Shipyard, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's a white border card of the shipyard. There. unposted, and that sold for $5.55. This is the Pontchartrain Hotel. This is the Imperial Suite, New Orleans, Louisiana. Look at that. Nice room. We don't spend a lot of time in hotel rooms when we go on vacation, and we usually get the medium one. We don't go to lower, stuff like that, but we don't get the real fancy ones either because we're not there a lot. We wake up, stay there a little bit, go out walking around, do our thing, come back in the afternoon, then go to dinner and come back. So you're in there, what, 3 hours out of the day? It's just a place to put our stuff. And then when I used to work in the field, stayed in a lot of hotels. A lot of Courtyards by Marriott, La Quintas, Doubletrees, Embassy Suites. Wherever I go driving, and I would pull over and find a place to stay. But I was on the road a lot in those days. You know, fixing and installing, advising. I was an engineer out in the field, so sometimes I'd be out there 2-3 weeks. Some days I'd be a 3-day trip. But we'll talk about that. But my end result, how did I do? Remember, 16 cards a day, $80 a day, raised my ASP. I did 10 cards, so I was 6 down. Only did $53.36 gross. Take 53.36 divided by 10. Got a 534 ASP, so that's a little bit down on there, but I'm not worried about it. I got the rest of the year to go through, putting money in the bank. I don't have a lot of overhead. I don't pay a lot for my cards. I keep my expenses down. Even slow months, I still make money, and that's what it is. But $80 a day, I'll give you almost $30,000 a year gross. And with the postcards, you get a pretty higher percent of profit because if you pay less for them, get them for a good price, you can get a higher profit there. So it puts about $1,000 to $1,200 by pocket minimum a month, free and clear and stuff. And I do pay taxes, just this tax time and stuff like that. I pay quarterly taxes when I calculate it out, and I send it in. A lot of people wait till the end of the year. I just send it in, get the money out of here. That's part of the business. I did that for years with my other businesses, and we just pay that. So at the end of the year, we don't have those big payments and stuff. But that's what's sold. Now we're going to get into special topic. I always have one of these in every video. It's about a special postcard. I got different ones out there. I have over 260 videos, 250 videos now on YouTube of different things, different postcards. So you might want to go and take a look at those and just learn a little bit. But you can break down at the bottom here as categories. You can click on where you want to go. So if you want to skip what's sold and go to a special topic, you go there. If you want to see the poll, you want to see the end, just skip down at the bottom of your screen. You can skip around all you want. I just do one long video instead of doing separate videos. That way people can list. When you're listing postcards, you got a stack of postcards to do. You just want to put something on and just get into the mindset of doing postcards and just listen and pop your head up every once in a while. So I read a lot because I know that what I do. I like putting something like an hour-long movie on or something like that, and I'll just listen to it and pop my head up as I want. My TV is right over the top here, is what I watch. Carlsbad Caverns, I'm going to give you a little history on it. Got some paragraphs here. Got a fact I found that I'll talk about, and while I do that, I'm going to show you some postcards I found of Carlsbad's Caverns. Here we go. Carlsbad Caverns, located in New Mexico, United States, is a stunning underground cave system with a rich and fascinating history. These caves were formed millions of years ago when sulfuric acid dissolved the limestone rocks in the area, creating a network of intricate tunnels and chambers. While the caves have been around for eons, their exploration popularization among the public began in the late 19th century. The history of Carlsbad Caverns really took off in 1898 when a teenager named Jim White, just 16 years old, first ventured into the caves. Jim White became a dedicated explorer and spent years mapping and documenting the caverns. At 16 years old in 1898. His passion for the underground world led to the caves becoming a popular tourist attraction in 1923. President Calvin Coolidge designated Carlsbad Caverns as a national monument, and later in 1930 was designated as a national park. Today, Carlsbad Caverns National Park continues to attract visitors from all over the world who come to marvel at its incredible underground formations, including the famous Big Room, one of the largest cave chambers in the world. Over the years, Carlsbad Caverns have played a crucial role in scientific research and education. Scientists have studied the unique geology, features, and the underground ecosystem found within the caves. The park's visitor center and educational programs offer visitors the chance to learn about the delicate balance of life in the subterranean world and the importance of preserving these remarkable formations. Carlsbad Caverns is not just a geological wonder, it is also a testament to the passion of a young explorer, Jim White, at 16 years old, and a symbol of the importance of protecting our national heritage for the future generations to enjoy. The underground lunchroom. This is one thing I found. Actually, I got two facts here. There's an underground lunchroom. I'm going to show you a picture here of the postcard of the underground lunchroom. Carlsbad Cavern has an underground lunchroom known as the Big Room lunchroom. This unique dining room area is located 750 feet or 229 meters underground within the massive limestone cave system. Visitors can enjoy a meal while surrounded by the stunning geological formations, making it one of the most unusual dining experiences in the world. I don't know about that. I'm not a big one of being in tight spaces and caves and stuff like that, but having a lunchroom down there and stuff like that, I wonder how they get all the smoke and the exhaust out of what if they ran pipes. And that's what I'd be more interested in, how they engineered it. But that was a picture of the lunchroom. I don't know if it's still there or not. If anybody knows, let me know. The second fact I have is bat flights. Bats, like Batman, bats at night. Carlsbad Caverns is famous for its bat population, particularly the Mexican free-tailed bats. One odd but fascinating fact is that these bats perform a daily ritual known as the bat flight. Each evening around sunset, thousands of bats exit the cave in a swirling, spiraling formation as they head out to hunt for their insects. The sight of so many bats flying out of the cave is a unique and impressive natural spectacle, attracting many visitors to witness the phenomenon during the warmer months. So that's a little bit of history, a little bit of background on Carlsbad Caverns. I learned a lot just reading about it. There's more out there. I just know that these postcards, I'll list them, but caves are not the biggest things, like Mammoth Cave and stuff like that. I'll probably get into some of those later on. But do they sell? Do caves sell? Does Carlsbad Caverns National Park sell? Do they follow? Where does it follow in the Yellowstone, Grand Canyon? Is it one of them or is it special? There's a lot of postcards out there, Carlsbad Caverns. But I use this little chart here. 0 to 3% sell-through rate is low. I try to stay away from them. I end up picking up some in lots and stuff, but I try to stay away from those. Then I work in the 4 to 10% average and high, in the lighter greens there. Those are the cards I look for, and while I do that, I do pick up some duds, the red, but I also find some of the 11 plus the very highs. What that does is the very highs have a better chance from this data to sell better than the other ones, and the highs will sell better than the average. So that's what it does. It just gives you something to look at, an educated guess, instead of going to a show and looking through a box and just guessing. This gives you a little bit more to try and figure out and make a decision, because you got to move through cards fast. Sure, you're going to sell some of the reds and stuff like that. This just helps me, and I thought I would share what I look. But how did the Carlsbad Caverns come out? So how I do sell-through rate is I go out there and I put postcard Carlsbad Caverns. I click the sold button on eBay, and it gives me a 90-day snapshot. Not scientific. I try to remove all the other weird stuff, coins or plates and stuff like that out of it. But I just want it to be in a range. That's why I use ranges. I don't have to get down to the last card because postcards are so huge, the market. I just want to give a ballpark. Hit the barn, not just a little spot on the barn. I don't care if I'm off a little bit. I just know it's going to fall in one of those ranges. I'll make up the difference when I go to list and stuff. But I click the sold, which completed 122 sold, and there's 4,400 listed. I unclick the sold and completed, and I get the listed. So not a lot, less than I thought. But eBay search can be finicky here and there, but this is the number it gives me. This is what I work with. I'm not worried about all this eBay search and it's not there. I'm just looking to be in the ballpark. Times it by 100 to get a solid percent, and I round up or down to the whole numbers because people don't want to think. It comes out to be 3%. So at the high end of the low, close to average, but it's still a low card to me. I don't seek them out that often. But to see if that 3% is in the ballpark, I usually bump it up against like 4 other things in the same type of category. Remember, this is for the individual card. Overall sell-through rate for postcards can be different. I'm just keying in on a certain topic. But I went out there and I said, postcard Grand Canyon. Rock formations, 6%. So Grand Canyon is a little bit probably more popular than Carlsbad Caverns that I would know. Then I did cave. I just did cave. There's caves all over. 1,200 sold, and there's 23,000 out there. 5%. So we're still in the average high, average area. Then Garden of the Gods. I've been there. I've actually walked through there. And there's some movies that have been filmed out there too. It's a huge place. 181. Everybody's probably seen the Garden of the Gods postcards and just throw them in a bucket. Don't do them. But some have sold. 4%. And then the caverns are 3%. So I think 3%, this is a low to low average. It's not one I seek out due to the sell-through rate. I'm not going to spend time on this. If I see a box full of caves and stuff, I'll probably pass. They just don't do it. But if I get them, I'll list them for the variety. But I'm not going to sit out in a whole session and just list Carlsbad Caverns. I have to mix it in because the sell-through rate is lower. But I would say, yeah, they're low to me. But the sell-through rate isn't priced at promoted listings. There's so many variables on what people buy. This just helps, gives you an educated guess. So now we're going to look into pricing, and I go out there and I look for extreme pricing first. The high water mark, what's the highest these cards sold for that I found? I threw out the real thousands of dollars of graded ones or whatever, and I throw out the low ones, the 99-cent auctions and stuff like that. I just kind of look for consistent high extreme pricing, I call it. I only found 2, and these are not really extreme compared to what I usually do. Like this one, it's a real photo postcard of Crystal Spring Dome, Carlsbad Caverns, New Mexico, vintage. And we're going to talk about that little name in the titles here in the poll coming up. 1674. They had a 33% off on a card. I've talked about sales and stuff, so why price it at $25, $24.99, and throw 33% off? I don't get it when it's just not me. But they probably sold that for $14 or somewhere around there, dollar shipping. So it's not a real high seller as some of the other cards we've seen. Then the next one is 1925 New Mexico Cave Carlsbad Caverns interior. Real photo. $14. They had that at $20 and they put that one at 28% off. So they're paying people to buy their stuff. So the high end, $12 to $15. There was none that I found that were way up there. And then you look at the average. I look at consistent average, not the real low ones, not the real high ones, kind of like average that you find in boxes. And I found these. I mean, this one's kind of closer to the extreme. Carlsbad Caverns, Guadalupe Mountains National Park Postcard Sunset. Nice card. Got $9.05 for it. Looks like a Continental, but it's got a nice sunset. Maybe someone went there and bought this one that one time. $9. Then you got like a large letter, Carlsbad Caverns Greetings Vintage Postcard. That's kind of a neat one. It looks like a is that a linen large letter? $8 plus $2 shipping, $10. So these are running $8 to $10. And then you get the bat flight here. I put one in for the bat flight that we just talked about. You see all the bats flying out of there? That's pretty cool, $8.23. That would be a card I would list. Something like that, or the large letter I would list. The sunset one, maybe lot it up. But those bottom, the bottom 2 I would probably list. So you're talking $5 to $10 at the high end. So these are very average to low for me on the postcards. So that's Carlsbad Caverns. There's not a lot of demand for them is what I found. Even with sales, I mean, people are putting these things on 30-40% sale trying to push them out. the solds are not as high. Will they come around to their day? Probably not. It's just one of those cards that you got to have variety. Put some up, but I wouldn't bank my business on Carlsbad Caverns Postcards. But there's some really neat ones like the Bat Flight. Who knew? Now I went to an auction. We didn't buy anything at the auction, and stuff was going high, and it was going to take them a while to get around. Not a lot of stuff at this auction. It's got a couple more coming up in the next few weeks, and maybe I'll pick up something else. But we always stop by the antique mall, then we go and have some pizza at our favorite pizza place, and then we go down the road to the auction. So we kind of spend the night doing that type of stuff for a couple hours. It's not far from home, 20-25 minutes for us down the country roads. But I stopped by an antique store because there's a couple sellers in there that have postcards, and one of them does a very good job and curates them, and he has good prices. I know I have to pay up when I go to an antique mall because I got to pay rent and all this stuff, so I know I'm not going to get them for 10 cents, 8 cents. I get enough of those, but I usually cherry pick his stuff. He kind of moved his things around. He didn't have as big a selection that he usually does. I think the last time I was there, I spent almost $250 on postcards he had, because I knew I could get some extra dollars. But it's been a few months since I've been there. I picked up, let's say 15 cards, less than $1, maybe 65 cents, 60 cents a piece for these, because I got a little discount because I bought a few. This one I picked is the Rose Building, Cleveland, Ohio. Kind of a different one. A whole bunch of writing on the back. Divided back, the Rose Building. This one is the Union Station Waiting Room, Washington, D.C. I like train stations. It's a white border card. Not too bad. Then I picked up an Israel Israel Airlines thing. Israel stuff kind of does well with these airlines and stuff. So I picked that one up. Then I picked up another train station, New Union Passenger Station, Kansas City, Missouri. Another white border. It's a Fred Harvey card on there. So pick that one up. Another train station, Atlantic Coastline Railroad Station, Rocky Mountain, North Carolina. Linen card. Looked like a really neat card. It's got some stuff on there. Got that one. Then I picked up a typical Post Exchange, Camp Grant, Illinois. It's one of those heavier card stock, kind of a chrome. I wouldn't say it's white border, but it's there. But the Camp Grant, I picked those up before from him. And then this one is New Haven Railroad Station, Connecticut. Chrome card. Another train station. Then this is Cadet Regiment, University of Illinois. White border card of the cadets. University of Illinois is about 2 hours south of me in Champaign. This is the Jefferson Avenue, Saginaw, Michigan. I picked this up for one reason. Saginaw, Michigan, on the town of a main street. So Saginaw, Michigan, I'll put it in there, and if someone has any saved searches for Saginaw, Michigan, then they'll see that. This one here is Watkins Medical Company, Winona, Minnesota. Nice little artist drawing there. Got some smoke coming out on there of a medical plant. Picked up the Siesta Alto 35 Cottages Motel, AAA Siesta Hotel, Baltimore, Maryland. Multi-view. Look at the old cars. Those always do well. This is one, Land of Make-Believe. I just listed a bunch of these, and I found this one there. It's from Hope, New Jersey. This is the chapel, the Santa barn, stuff like that. But these go for a little bit higher. I don't know if that place is there, but the comps were coming higher, and I raised it up on these make-believes. So I got another one. And I think this is the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. Nice picture of that bridge. Couldn't pass this up, so I picked those up. So I paid about 60 cents a card. Not a big batch of cards, but I kind of support the local thing, so maybe he'll bring some more in there. So my little sourcing trip didn't spend a lot and didn't find a lot, but but it was neat looking through all the cards and walking through the place. So always check out antique malls. You can find I found some really good cards at antique malls. You'll pay $3 to $4 sometimes for them, but there were some really good ones over the years that I found in there. You find them in baskets and stuff like that. That's my little auction trip. Now let's get into the poll. Another passion thing. People get so caught up in semantics. It's crazy. If you say one thing, they're going to come out and say, no, it's called this. It's called this. It's called this. Either they're trying, they just want to show you what they know, or they're just going against you and stuff like that. In postcard world, what I found, there's gray area. There's crossover. A card could be a mechanical card and be undivided back. You just got to pick and just know what it is. And the poll I did was, do you use the word vintage in your titles? I see that a lot. Me, I don't use it. I don't think it needs to be there. People, I haven't been convinced that needs to be there. Now, I put postcard in there because I used to do a lot of reports, and that's just how I started. I could probably take postcard out because it's in the postcard category. I just leave it in there. It's how, all my cards look the same, and that's what I do. But vintage and antique, I don't know. I'll leave it up there, but I put the poll out. 42% said yes, 54% said no. So it's kind of a 50-50 that they put it in or no. My question is, does it give you more sales? Can anybody prove that? All this keyword stuff and stuff like that, does it give you anything more? Collectors know what they're looking for. People know what they're looking for. And they know if it's vintage or not. If I can look at that one postcard with the old car in there, and just look at the year of the card, just by looking at it. I'm not a car guy, and I know it's a vintage postcard because of the year of the card, 1940s or whatever. But I don't know if it's good or bad. So leave it in the comments what you think about it. I got some comments here, but I didn't get enough to tell me to spend my time to put vintage in there. But I went out there and I said, a couple comments I got, and people over the time doing reselling and stuff like that in flea markets, people tell me what vintage is on their thinking, and then antique. It's 100 years, it's 20 years. You know, Etsy says it has to be vintage, and what year, and all this other stuff. Vintage and antique to me, it's old. It's old. It's not a new item to me. That's how I look at it. I don't think vintage or antique is going to get me a more sale. People buying it already know. So I went out there on the internet, which is always true, and I found the best two definitions that kind of, what is vintage and what is antique. Now, is this in stone? No, it's just one of the examples. I've seen many different numbers, but I'm not going to sit there and have a debate with people about the semantics, about the context of it being used in. And as you'll see here, hey, I just sold a postcard. I sold the USS Benson DD 421 photo, circa 1940s, for $8.55. Every day, it just keeps coming in. But let's look at the definition for vintage. The term vintage can vary depending on what is describing. So what it's describing. So crossover, gray area. In general, for items like clothing, furniture, or cars, something is typically considered vintage if it's from around 20 to 100 years. However, for wine, and vintage refers to the year the grapes were harvested. So it's not based on age, but rather on the quality and characteristics of that specific year's crop. So it's in the context of what you're talking about and how you're doing it and stuff like that. But they said 20 to 100 years. I've heard that before. Anything over 20 years and anything under 100 years is vintage. Anything over 100 years is antique. That's usually the guideline I use. But like I said, I'm not that worried about it. I can look at something and know it's old. Then I went out there and I looked for what determines the number of years for antique. The classification of an item as antique typically involves its age, but the specific number of years can vary depending on who you ask, definitely, and the context, or where you cite it from. Different people have different things, and some people will jump up and down to prove to you they know more than you. I don't get in. I'm not intimidated by all that. I cite my things from where I get it, and if it's a little bit different, it's just the gray area. You got to use common sense. Generally, an item is considered antique if it is at least 100 years old. So there's a definite answer there, but is it written in stone? However, in some cases, items less than 100 years old, but of significant historical or cultural importance, might also be considered antique. It's important to note that the definition of antique can differ between countries, industries, so there isn't a strict universal rule. Just like postcards. White borders is probably one of the requirements that are most elusive for some people. They get caught up and they see a white border on a linen and they thought it was white border, and I said no, it's got the waffle texture and stuff. So you got to kind of take it and use your judgment on what it is. Divided backs is more about the date. Anything before 1907 and before is usually undivided back, but you'll see postmarks on an undivided back 1912, 1914, because people didn't use the cards they bought back in those days. So the postmark just tells me one thing: it was postmarked after the card was printed, is really what it does. But it does help in dating some cards. Just get in the general area. People are buying postcards, pretty well know what they're buying. They see the front and see the back. Is vintage or antique going to get you any more in the titles? But it's whatever you want to do, whatever context you want to put it in. It doesn't mean that you have to jump up and down on a desk to prove to somebody that I'm right. I don't do that. Me, it's old. I just go in the middle. I take the neutral spot. Neutral. It's old. I didn't buy it today at the store. It doesn't have a UPC code. So, old. Is it going to take me from 10 cards a day to 50 cards a day if I put vintage in my title? No. It's not going to do that. But I had some comments come in and I picked them out. Heavy's Metal Picker said vintage for the win. So he's a big vintage guy. If it works for you and that's your model, do it. Gotta have a system. If you put it in every one, do it. Keep doing it. If it's working for you, do it. Then thanks Heavy. Then Pyro Know-It-All, I put VTG for vintage because it's the same in search function of eBay, saves characters or other keywords. Yeah, so he uses keywords in his titles. I'm not a keyword stuffer. He is. That's how he does his business. Doesn't mean he's wrong, and doesn't mean I'm right or whatever. It's just how we do it. And I'm not going to sit there and go back and forth on what team, I'm team vintage or not team vintage. That's not what it is. You just got to pick a way to do it and see if it works. And now if it wasn't working for me, then maybe I would change some stuff. But right now it's working for me. And it's probably working for Pyro. And it's working for Heavy. So that's what I'm talking about, being humble. Just because you do it one way doesn't mean everybody has to do it that way as well. If we were all the same, then we wouldn't be individuals. The Wandering Ghoul, Zombie. I use it, but I figure most people buying cards are expecting vintage. Yeah, pretty much, because they're not really made a lot these days. They're out there, but they're the bigger Continentals and stuff like that. The older ones, people kind of know. I'm with you. If I can pinpoint a publication date, I put the date. I don't know if that'll... To me, I don't even put the publishers in a lot. I'll put Tux, I'll put Clapsaddle, Detroit Publishing once in a while, and stuff like that. But I don't go that deep into it because I'm not targeting that targeted collector. My cards are more nostalgic, towns, cities, main streets, divided back to chrome and stuff. I don't get into artist sign. I don't get into like rotograph, Tux. I'll put Tux in there because I can identify. Rotograph I can identify. Albertites a lot. The sepia, whatever the brown stuff, the cyanotypes. I'll put stuff like that in there. Detroit Publishing I can pick out. Haynes I can pick out pretty much. But I don't spend a lot of time on publishers. People looking for those types of cards know what they're looking for, like holotypes or cyanotypes. They know what they're looking for. And they know the publisher. They're collectors of that. They're specialists in that area. They niche down. I don't spend my time with a lot of that on there. I don't know if it'll give me any more sales. Plus, I don't put a lot of stuff in my title at the top because I want them to be curious what it is, see the picture, and go into the listing. And then they see the buy button. So if you put damaged and all this other stuff, all these things in the title, will that entice them to go in and look at that item? So that's my thinking. Thanks, Zombie, Wandering Ghoul. Then Boldly Grow Pictures, Chris. If I do it, it's because they're saying vintage or antique car in the picture. But 99% of the time I don't. So as you can see, it's 50-50. Do it if you want, do it if you're not. Is it a game changer? I don't know. Those are the definitions I found. I could go out there. I found a lot of different definitions. But most of them kind of targeted this, so that's why I did it there. So be humble. Work with it and see what it is. That's the poll. If you got any questions that you want me to put out there for viewers for a poll, just send them into contact@SMPostcards.com and I'll give it a shot. I might reword it a little bit or not use it. It depends what it is. If it's too personal or it gets too detailed or too broad, I might change it up a little bit, and I'll let you know when I put it out there. But just send it in to contact@SMPostcard.com, and make sure you subscribe and hit that little bell icon. And I think in the corner here you can hit subscribe so you know when these come out. But every Saturday the polls come out, and I think Thursday I put a little quiz out there I just got from a book. Thanks for participating in the polls. Now we're going to get into the I was excited to do this part because it'll answer a lot of questions I get. 3 comments, viewer comments. The first one from Brenda, and I did answer this and she wrote back it helped, but I get this a lot. At how many postcards listed did you start to see daily sales with your listings? So I've talked to a few higher level, larger store postcard sellers and stuff like that, and a lot of them said 5,000 to 6,000 cards listed is when they started seeing a consistency that told them that, yeah, this could work. In the beginning with 500 cards, 300 cards, 1,000 cards, you'll start seeing some, but it was really that kind of 5,000 to 6,000 mark that I saw it consistently more. It made a difference, I think. But it also depends on how you're listing them, your photos, your shipping 1 or 2 days, your price, shipping cost, how you ship them, the reputation. You have to build a reputation in the postcard world. You have to get people into your store. You got to have a variety and quantity. You got to pick a model of what you want to do, stuff like that. So a reputation is a big thing. People can know that you back your stuff up. I have free shipping, free returns, hassle-free. I don't care. Say you don't like it, or you're drinking one night and bought a bunch of postcards. I hassle-free returns. I don't get a lot of returns, a lot of questions. I don't do best offer. I don't go back and forth for 50 cents. People send me messages about, hey, will you take $3 for this card? Will you take, 75 cents off this card? I don't respond. I don't have best offer on, and I don't get a lot of those, but these guys are doing it to everybody. I'm not going to spend my time I'm not on my phone all day doing offers. I do send offers whenever I see them. I send them out. I send a 10% offer all day long whenever I see them, but I don't put counter offer. There's no room for these average cards I do. Now, if it's higher end card, say I got a $60 Halloween card, and I see something come through and someone that wants to buy it for $50, I'll think about it. I'm not stupid. I'll look at those. Or if someone wants to buy 50 cards, but they got to put it in the title so I see the message. Otherwise, I'm not going to see it, because I have volume discounts as well. I had a guy the other day come in and asked, hey, how many of these cards you got? I said, you can search our store for this, and we have volume discounts for multiple cards. You can use it. You'll see it at checkout. That's it. Did he buy them? No. But I wasn't going to, he wanted me to lot them up and do all this work. I'm not going to jump through hoops to do that. They're in the store. Pick what you want. Show me what you got, and maybe we can do something. But I've done that before, where you make these lots and do all this stuff, jump through hoops, and then you never hear from them again. Just to get one sale? No. I spent my time listing it, and I'm not that worried about a ka-ching. But I'm not stupid. I'm not going to turn my back on bigger bulk stuff like that. So I pick and choose, and that's my prerogative. But 5,000 to 6,000 cards is where I saw a difference, and some of the others around that area too. On there, I hope that helps, Brenda, and I hope it answers a lot of other people are out there. It doesn't mean if you only have 1,000 cards you won't sell them. It just means you're probably going to sell a little more when you get more variety and stuff. One of the things I've seen over time doing polls and some of the things is listing is the toughest thing for people with postcards. This little piece of colored cardboard is causing anguish for people, pains on listing. It does for me sometimes too. Sometimes it takes me a little bit longer when I'm doing cards that take a little bit more time. I want to get through them, but I take my time with them, and I try to do a little bit every day. But people ask me about templates or 6-bit software. I don't use 6-bit. I don't know it. I can't say if it's good or bad. So I leave it up to somebody that uses it. Some people, that's all they use, and they really like it, and that's good. Some people only drive Ford cards, some Toyota, some Buick cards. It's just whatever you're comfortable with. I'm not going to be on the sidelines yelling and cursing at people that don't use things. I pick templates. You got to pick something. You got to be on something. You can't be all over the place. Have a system is what I recommend. I picked eBay templates and the listing in eBay. Years ago, it used to be pretty bad. You had all these different pages and stuff. Now it's pretty straightforward, and they do change it up in a while, and people get all upset because they change one text box or something. Just go with the flow. You have no control over it, just working into your system. It takes 30 to 60 days for a human to accept change. So just know that. But the question I got was, you have mentioned that you have eBay templates for listing. Can you share more information on how you use these eBay templates? Yeah, I'll walk you through a little clip here on what I do. I have about 5 or 6 templates, if I remember right. And I'm going to list 2 cards. Just real quick, this one here is a linen card. It's unposted, and it's Berkeley Carteret Hotel, Asbury Park, New Jersey. That's the title. I'm going to list that one. And then I'm going to go in and just do a Navy ship, USS Coolidge, and put that in there. And that's a crumb card unposted. So we'll walk through those 2. Hope it helps for people to see what an eBay template is and what I'm talking about. So let's go and get going with that. Okay, now this is the eBay template page, managing listing templates. How you get there is you go to listing, active, and down on the left side where my mouse is, on the column listing templates. If you don't have any, it'll probably ask you to create them or whatever, but it's been a while since I created from a blank. I've always had templates. But if you notice, I got 6 different templates. I have continental, postcards, naval covers, those ship covers. And their reason for that is they go into different categories. These 4 go into categories, and then there's photographs. Naval ship prints, because I have different things for those, and the ship photos, because they go in the photograph thing. So these are all the templates that I use. I put a hash or a pound here, so when I look at this page, these get sorted to the top with the hash at first, because these are the most I use. The main difference between these 2 is the size, is what's in there, not the price or anything like that. But if I wanted to list, we're going to list 2 cards, and I showed you. One is the Berkeley Carteret Hotel, Asbury Park, New Jersey. The first one, a linen card, unposted, and then a Navy ship, the USS Coolidge, FF 1049, chrome card, unposted. I've already scanned them, and I have the front and back scanned, so we don't do that. That's a different topic. But if I wanted to create a new listing, I go to Create Listing, and if you notice, those templates pop up. Both of these cards are 5.5 by 3.5 standard cards. They're not continental and stuff like that, but one is a ship card. But the first one we're going to do is a linen card of a hotel in New Jersey. So I click Postcard. That's my normal one I use most of the time. If you notice, it pops up and it has everything I need for the listing. Doesn't have any photos yet, or title, or SKU number. So let's go pick the photo. Now this is box 1. I already have everything scanned, all my things. I'm not worried about being upright, sideways, or anything like that, because I can flip them around pretty quick. But this is the front of the hotel, and this is the back on there. I picked those 2, and that's where they are. It takes a second sometimes for eBay to take it, but if, let's say this was flipped around sideways, like that, I don't go through in the beginning and sort and make sure they're all right before I put them in the scanner, because all I have to do is click here, and the most you're going to have to turn it is 3 times, and it's done. So that's oriented right. This is orientated right. You can see that on there. Clear images, got the little border around it. Now for the title, I always put postcard in the front of my titles. I've done it forever. Ever since I started, I just left it that way. You can do it or you not do it. I don't know if it helps or not with that, since it's in the postcard category. But this is a linen card, and we're going to just type what's on the card. I'm not a keyword stuffer. I'm not looking to do all that stuff. I just sold a postcard, but we're doing this. That will have to wait. Hotel, and then the town, which is important to me, and state. Now you can type out the state, or you can use NJ, or you can do both. It's whatever you do. I started typing the state out totally, and I type it. So once I get the title here, everything is done. That's all I'm going to put in there. I have 50 of the 80 characters. I'm not worried about putting red, cars, all this other stuff just to fill that 80 characters. I'll highlight that title. That's my search criteria for comping if I want to do that. But I'll take that. I will copy that over to my spreadsheet that I keep all my SKU numbers, the data I listed and stuff like that, and I'll get a SKU number. I'll put a sleeve on the card, and I'll put the number of the sticker with the right number on there. Let's say the number is 500. is askew. So when I sell it, I'm looking for card 500. Not Asbury Hotel right away. I'm looking for this first, and then I'll double check. But it already picked the regions. Region is the state. So New Jersey, and then it's a hotel. So if it picks some stuff, grab those. Wouldn't be too worried if it gets it wrong and stuff like that. It's just trying to get out of your title what it can find. Now, store category, I put it New Jersey. I have all 50 states. You can hit edit and you can put a second category. So say it's Mount Vernon, and you did a card. You put it in there, or Washington D.C. and George Washington. You could put, and you had a George Washington category. You can put it in there, stuff like that. A little more work, not bad. But then you get down into these things. I'm not worried about this item category. A lot of people ask me about topographical, graphical. In Europe, it's just the opposite of view cards and topographical and stuff like that. So they screwed all this up a couple of years ago when eBay did that. Whatever it falls in, whatever it's set here, I don't change that. I'm not worried about that. Never have been. But the city I am, Asbury Park, is what I pick, because there's 686,000 searches we've done on the city. It's a hotel. Not worried about a linen card, where it was made. The people that are searching for that already know what they're looking for. It's of the USA. It's not foreign. Regions New Jersey. Cities and towns is fine. So that's what I want to key on. I don't go and change all that stuff. They're looking for Asbury Park. It's going to pop up. Not worried about some. If it's real photo, you want to pick real photo. Otherwise, I just leave it as that. Era, I pick that as linen. And down here, I have it set for Chrome, but I usually put what it is here. Do people really search on that stuff? Some of the people, but I'm not targeting just that person. All this other stuff I'm not worried about. The size here, yes, I want to make sure you have different options. You got Continental and stuff like that. 5.5 by 3.5. Boilerplate, I don't type this every time. This is already in there. Covers almost everything. There's nothing special, tears or anything on this card I need to add. I've already copied the title. I put the title in the description. I don't put anything else there. I don't put it. If there's a bunch of junk here, I usually don't even buy from that seller because I don't want to deal with them. So I don't need to have all their rules. When I'll show you in a second where eBay has all that stuff. And then when I get down to this section here, this is where I look at pricing. If you notice, I didn't look at any pricing or comping up there. I got that out of the way, got my description. Then this is where the pricing is. eBay will kind of give you a number here, but it's usually not most correct one, but it can give you a little insight if there's something bigger there. If I see $50 here for a card, yeah, I'm going to double check here, but most of the time I know this is a hotel. Asbury, it's a linen card. It's going to be average. If I wanted to comp it, I can just throw this title into another eBay window on Microsoft Edge or WorthPoint or Google on Google and see if there's anything else out there. But I pretty well know this is probably a $4 to $5 card. So I'm going to leave it at $4.75, which is my base. The quantity is 1. If I wanted to schedule it, I can right here. And then the shipping. It's under $20, so it's going to be my standard free shipping postcards. If it was over $20, then I would make it a high price, and it turns it into calculated. I don't play with shipping. It is what it is. Everybody is on the same playing field pretty much for that. 1 ounce, 751 for an envelope, free shipping, and that is one listing done. I'm not out there chasing 25 cents more or 50 cents more or stuff like that. I'm going to make money on this card because I bought them right. I don't have a lot of overhead, and it's a quantity game. So if I list it, I just hit list, and it'll go. Let's preview this listing. So this is what the listing would look like if I saved it, which I'm not going to save it because I want to make sure it's put in the right processes and everything. But there's the title, Postcard Berkeley Hotel, Carteret Hotel, Asbury, New Jersey. How easy is that to read? If I had all this other mumbo-jumbo stuff up there, would people pass it up? But you want people to get to this point where their view. The first thing was an impression. This is a view because they clicked on it, and if they click buy it now, then or add to cart, that's a conversion if they pay for it. But those are the two photos. Oh, they won't let me go on a preview. But it says free shipping. And then down here it has everything that we just put in. Hotel, Asbury Park, it does searches on and stuff like that. It has all this stuff in there. that we did. And for people that put all their shipping and stuff like that in the terms and the description, it's all right here on a tab. Everything right here. There's no reason to reduplicate. eBay wants you to use this instead of putting stuff in the description. To me, that's old eBay. But that's what the thing is. It has a little frame around it and stuff like that. So that one's done. Now let's go over, let's get rid of this one. So I'm not going to save these because I'm doing it for demonstration. The next one is a Navy ship. So if I want to create a listing and I pick a template, naval ships. I know which these are because they're my templates. Again, there's no photos, so let's go get the photos. And what I do is I delete the one I just did before. There's another one of the, from a test demonstration. So I delete them. I don't save my photos, my scans. I can scan pretty quickly. But this is the ship we're doing, USS Kolosh. Everything is right, orientated, nice clear picture. If you look at that, nice clear picture out of the Epson 580. You can read the number. Everything looks good. Postcard is still up front for the Navy ships. And then this is the USS KOELSCH. And then what's very important is the number. That's it. I don't put frigate in there. I don't put a lot of things in some of my ship things. I experimented with that. It didn't do that much. But that's all they need right there. They're going to search on this, or they're going to search on the number. I'll take this. I'll highlight this. I'll Control-C to copy it. Put on my spreadsheet, get a number. Let's say this is 501. I put a sleeve on the card, put the sticker 501 on it. It's ready to go in the box, basically. Topographical postcards. I'm not worried about this item category at all. Now my store categories for Navy ships is a little different. I use naval ships A through E. These are their names, F through J, K through 0. So this is Kolosh, starts with a K. This is where it goes. Subject is a ship, occasion, military, covers all the military stuff. Not worried about all the stuff. It's a Chrome card. Features, I can go down and click Chrome again. Everything is in there. And it looks like the size wasn't checked on this template. I made sure it was there. I'll go fix that template there in a second. Has the boilerplate condition statement. I just do that. Put the name in there. Navy ships like this, Chrome cards, are $4.75. I know that. That's what I list all my ship cards for, is $4.75. I don't do any comping on these cards. I got thousands of them. I'm just running quantity, and that's it. But if I want to schedule it, I schedule it. It's a $4.75 card, not over $20, so it's not high price, so it's regular free shipping. Postcards, everything's there, everything's set. I hit list. I'm done with that card. Now, if I had 100 of these, then I would count them out, make sure I put 100 there. Or if I had 5 of these, so if they're all the same. But let's take a look at this one, what it looks like. Very simple. Postcard, USS Kolosh, FF 1049. How simple is that? That's a nice listing. Everything's nice and true. They can hit buy or cart. It has Navy, all this stuff in here. And then if you want to look at the shipping, free shipping, all the information, if they want to upgrade their shipping, is there. Everything is done. And then I would just go down and I would hit list. And it would be done. But again, I won't save these. I'll delete the drafts. But that's my templates as I use. Now, if it was Continental, the only thing really changes is the size. Naval prints, I do have something in the description to explain about the lighter card paper. Naval covers are in a different category. Photos are in a different category. And then I also put the size of the photos. That's important because they're all different. Sometimes they're pretty well different. But that's how templates, that's how I list. Now, if it's a higher end postcard, then it goes to the side and I do a little bit more research and comping. But these easier average cards, I'm not going to chase down 25 cents. I lose money just thinking about it. Now let's get back to the video. That's templates. That's really all there is to it. And that's how I go through and do my listings. and that's why I can go through a lot on there. I don't worry about pricing until I get to the price section. If that card is over $12.65 and up in the $15, $20, $30, $40 thing, I will save it for later and set that card to the side, and I'll come back to my drafts when I have 5, 10 of those cards that I need to look through and stuff. I just go through my stack of cards, everything is there and stuff. I'm not worried about typing North Carolina every time, saving these 2 seconds. I can stop and start all that stuff, and all my postcards are scanned. I have, if you watch the video where I did all the boxes for 2024, they're already scanned. So when I go to list, I can just start, print out my little stickers, and I'm ready to go. The SKU numbers come off my spreadsheet, and that has all the price and date I listed and stuff like that, and there's sequential order, so I know what numbers, and I delete the photos. I don't save any of my scans. There's no sense to me to do that. I can rescan a box of postcards in hours. It take me a while, but I'm not worried about them losing my photos. That happened 5, 6 years ago, 5 years, 2018 or something, stuff like that. But there's so many different ways you can list. I'm not saying this is the right or wrong way. It works for me. So you just need a system that you can go through and get cards up. If you're doing average cards like I do, and you will have average cards, it's quantity and variety. If you do the higher end cards, it's going to be a totally different way of doing that. You have different screens, you got to look up stuff and like that. But these are the 2 cards I did are basically average cards to me. The hotel one might go up a little bit if I did a comp or something. Is it worth the time to find that extra 50 cents? Now, if I said that's a $10 card, a lot of people will keep digging and digging and digging and digging and digging until they find $10 somewhere on Google, somewhere else. But there's other ways to come. You can use WorthPoint, you eBay, you can put it in Google, you go to Card Cow, you'll see old postcards, you'll see all these different things on the web, and Google Image. Put it Google and type images, and you can I could actually take that card and bring the photo over, and it'll show me out there as well. That works great for foreign cards for me. But if I have one that I'm researching, I use all those tools. But these average cards, I paid hardly anything for them, and my overhead is low, so I can squeeze some other sellers that are selling these cards at the price, because I don't have that big overhead, where some of these people need a little bit more because they paid too much for them and stuff like that. But it's the market. That's templates. Now let's finish up the viewer comments. So the question I got, the last one, a little personal, but I can tell you a few things that I do. It said, you mentioned you worked in the technology field before you retired. What did you do at your job? Also, why do you not sell computers and electronics? So yes, I worked in the technology field 25, 30 years. Is my last part of my career. I worked basically in the telecommunications field, transmission, the bigger lines and stuff, and it'd be nothing for me to put 15, 20 T1 lines coming in, which can handle a huge amount of data, huge amount of stuff, working with carriers like AT&T, Wiltel, MCI and stuff like that, bringing lines in, working through all that, connecting to our systems. I worked all over the world. I was in Germany, France, London, training technicians and stuff like that. I worked all over the United States, different systems, OS2 based IBM systems. I was a Midwest specialist for. I worked for major companies, were my accounts that had me travel around doing things. Some of the largest call centers in the world, in the nation, I did help put that together. We did like 4 of them across the nation. I mean, you're talking 700 to 800 seats in these big centers. When I walked in, it was nothing but gravel and a warehouse, and then we would design our systems all the way to the top and stuff, and we'd put it together. It all came out pretty well. But I worked for the manufacturers. Back in the Y2K days, internet boom, you could find a job anywhere if you had some kind of technology experience and stuff. I remember driving around like San Jose, California, just driving around warehouses. It looked like going through Best Buy, Shell, Sound Blaster, all these companies, Seagate, were right there. And that's where it was all happening, Cisco and all that stuff. So that's what I did. I traveled and stuff, and I decided not to travel. Then I ended up got an offer from a company local here, the largest utility in the nation, and they needed someone with my skills. They were my account. I took care of their systems, and they offered really good money, benefits, and stuff. And I was an engineer for them, an analyst for years, and then I promoted me to manager. Took over the East Coast, part of our company, and Chicago. So I traveled back and forth every other week for years. Had a team out there, a team here, and I was a manager, but also lead engineer, troubleshooter, and all the political stuff that comes along with it. But times change, leadership changes, focus changes. It was time to go. A lot of us decided to go, so I was able to leave at 55. Good package, good benefits, and I'm set on there. So I've been retired about 5 years now. Would I still be there if some things didn't change? But it was about time to go. The technology was changing so fast, and they just wanted to do some things, and some of us have seen it before. Wouldn't call it burnout, but we decided, why come to work when I can make just as much money at home? And we took that. But I like going to work. I didn't mind working at all and stuff like that. But why don't I sell electronics computers? I'm an electronic technician and know all this stuff, and I can build computers. I'm not the private tech. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to get involved with stuff like that. I fix my own stuff and do stuff like that, but anything that plugged in, I never sold online. I used to get a lot of beer signs and stuff like that. I would rewire them and put new transformers and ballast in them, and I'd sell them at the flea market. No way am I selling anything like that online. It's just me. A lot of toys and stuff, they had batteries. I didn't sell them. VCRs, I could repair them and stuff like that. Computers and monitors. I'm not shipping all that and dealing with Johnny's Dinosaurs not working and stuff like that. Not what I want to do. I did that for years, so I wanted to change. I retired to slow down. But that's what I do. But a lot of people do well with electronics and computers and stuff like that. But I'm not one that keeps up with technology either. I got an iPhone 13, and it'll keep going until the battery dies, or they stop upgrading it, or whatever. I don't chase technology. I stopped that years ago. You can go broke. Just having the newest thing out there isn't my thing. I don't have the fastest computers in the world. It does what I need. So, but that's a little bit about me. I put it at the end. If you got any questions about that, let me know. But that's my stuff like that. A lot of people out there say they have a degree in technology, but they don't have the experience. I can tell you what, if I didn't have a college degree in electronics, but I worked in a company for 25, 30 years doing electronics, that's better than a degree. So watch what people say about all this stuff about eBay and computers and stuff like that. If they haven't worked in that environment, they don't have the experience or the skill. Professionals don't speak out of their area. Just because we call them paper techs. They went and got a degree, but they haven't any fields experience or real life experience. That's the biggest part. I will hire someone that has 10 years field experience on a system before I would hire someone that has a 4-year degree on that system that never worked in the workplace. Because I didn't have any training. I didn't have a big training budget, and I didn't have time. I needed someone that could hit the ground running. So with all this AI stuff coming out like that, a lot of people complain it's going to take jobs. Go get it. Go learn it. Go learn technology. That's the way it's going. That's the way it's always been going for years. Go out and learn that. You'll have a job. I can tell you that. Work in that field for 5 years, you will find a job. I've never been without a job in that field. And they pay good. Road warriors make good money if you can do that type of thing, especially engineers and stuff like that. It's very good money. They take care of you. That's all I got for today. If you go caving, if you're a caver, let us know what you think about Carlsbad Caverns and stuff like that. Or if you had lunch down in that lunchroom, let me know you've seen the bat flight. Or if you live out by there, give us some information. Thanks for watching. Here's some fish. I'll talk to you later.